about the fact that the former Prime Minister accuses the Deputy President of trying to derail the BBI process. The report was published by NTV in the program NTV Weekend Edition. So let's see how they say.
Those who have joined the Building Bridges Initiative bandwagon are in the millions if the signature booklets from 13 regions across the country are anything to go by. So far, the total tallied number of collected signatures stands at 5.2 million signatures. Nyanza region is leading at 893,000 signatures, followed by Eastern region with 842,000 signatures, Rift Valley 817 signatures, and Central region at 793,000 signatures, among other regions. Odinga has urged the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission to move with speed and verify the signatures to pave way for the referendum.
The naysayers out there who claim to be speaking for the people, throughout this process, the people have spoken. Let us respect the 5 million Kenyans who have appended their signatures to this. And let us respect the millions of others who are waiting out there to vote for or against the document in the referendum.
The former Prime Minister has criticized Deputy President William Ruto and his allies for trying to sabotage the exercise and pushing to have the referendum held with the general elections in 2022.
Wakati wa kutoa maoni ilikuweko, waliuliza watoe maoni yao na hawakuweza kutoa maoni yao. Hiyo uchaguzi itakuwa na viti, sasa itakuwa viti 6. Kwanza hiyo tayari inakuwa shida zaidi kwa wananchi. Tume ya uchaguzi nataka ipunguzwe. Wengine wanasema sasa ongeza tena ingine ballot ingine ya 7. Kwa watu ambaye hawajasoma, to an elected voter, that is asking for too much.
Leaders supporting BBI have vowed to fiercely push on with the exercise, even as those allied to Deputy President William Ruto continue to criticize the entire BBI process.
How can you give conditions when the bill has already been prepared? Who are they directing those suggestions they are forwarding to? Because everything was done, the task force was disbanded, so who else can open it?
Kila siku wanatoa vikwazo mpya. Ya juzi ni tofauti na ya leo. Na ya leo itakuwa tofauti na ya kesho. Na kesho itakuwa tofauti na kesho kutwa. Wewe endelea kutoa tu vikwazo. Sisi tunasonga mbele.
Next step, the BBI Secretariat is now expected to forward the Constitutional Amendment Bill 2020 accompanied with the signatures to the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission for verification. Vincent Odur, NTV, Nairobi.
So with this story, number one is the treatment of that is still being used in the same conversation, in that the bandwagon has already left the station. Now, of notable things that I've seen is, number one is that they request that IEBC to move with speed and pave the way for the referendum so that voters can either vote for or vote against. Here's the thing. Among the few things that I find really puzzling or really puts me on the fence in the entire conversation is that, one, you cannot deny the over 5 million signatures of voters who already said they want the BBI. You cannot deny them the rights, and at the same time you cannot deny the right of people to hold their own opinions, especially, or to hold and give the opinions on this matter. And what I've constantly been saying is that it's a national conversation that's supposed to bring about national cohesion and among other things. So the question is, if you shut out some people, regardless of whether the time to speak for or against was there, if you ignore their conversations, then what are you necessarily working towards? Because at the end of the day, it defeats the entire purpose of why the process was started in the first place. Now that's the other thing. Now on the second thing on the same is that now the fact that now the process has gone and the process has been to where it is that if, for example, the constitutionality of the process is seen as unconstitutional, for example, by the Supreme Court, will the process end or with the people who are pushing for the BBI, would they sit down and really consider their efforts and try and start it again so that it becomes constitutional, or will they assume the position of the courts? That is if. That's a very big if. Now, will they ignore what the court is saying and continue on with the process? And knowing that how the Kenyan political atmosphere, is most politicians, and for the purposes of their political ambitions, tend to ignore the courts. So now the question is, will they actually consider the courts? Going on is that I feel that if, with the way things are going, the entire BBI conversation is becoming polarizing and unfair, and it defeats its entire purpose. So the question is, will the leaders really take a step and look at the atmosphere in which they're creating, and in a way find ways to reach across the other side and try and find harmonizing ways in order to bring the countries together? Now that's a very big question, because everybody is they have a tunnel-like vision. They are seeing the end, but they're not considering other people who may have difficulties. The same way that it may be difficult for other Kenyans to vote for multiple choice elections, as the referendum, as they say, it is also difficult for other Kenyans to fully comprehend and understand the BBI. So at this point is where they need the leaders to try and help them either reconcile their thoughts and their shortcomings and misgivings about the entire BBI report. So I'm not seeing people going the politicians going the extra mile. So which is important. Is exactly why I've been saying that you have to read, you have to make up your own opinion, because the political leader will only give you the opinion in which he or she has, and not help you make your own decision based on what you avoid about the entire document.